Dave Roberts has seen enough. Also, Anthony Davis says he hasn't taken a shot with a basketball since April 5th. But on the plus side, he has been to Red Lobster. And if the NFL season kicked off today, exactly where are the Rams? Just wondering. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is Faithful Angelenos. I am a very happy guy. It is June 13th, 2022. It's absolutely gorgeous outside. I want to start off by thanking the new subscribers that have joined the channel. Appreciate you. We are trying to build something here. If you like the content we've been putting out for almost 4 months now, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notifications bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when a new video is out. We're trying to put one out between 9 and 10 a.m. every day. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And yes, comment. I ain't perfect. I read my Bible. I'm very much aware I am not perfect. Now, before we get to the main topic of Rams football, let's go through the scores, the news, and notes. Very limited action yesterday and today, by the way. The Dodgers, they get swept in San Francisco. They got shut out the third time this year. It was 3-0. The Dodgers still have a half-game lead in the NL West, but they have lost 9 of 13 and were swept by the Giants for the first time since 2016. So yeah, I think a day off's in order. What about the Dodgers overall, though? Chris Taylor got hurt. He has a nasty little gash above his right eye. He crashed into a wall in the 8th inning. An injured list stint is not expected. However, he's definitely getting the day off, as is the rest of the team. And manager Dave Roberts is thinking of giving him Tuesday off as well. Now, Walker Buehler got hurt. We all know that. So the scribes, they go and ask about Dustin May, how his rehab is coming along. And Dave Roberts is like, yeah, it's okay, but it's Tommy John surgeries. They don't have a timeline for him making a return. And once Dustin May does return, it's not going to be in the bullpen. He is a starting pitcher, so there's that. As for Dave Roberts, okay, I mentioned this before, that I used to be a sports writer and I covered a little bit of Major League Baseball. And obviously the journalism industry imploded, and now I'm just a regular old guy, which is fine. Still have people, though, who cover Major League Baseball. And they are saying that the players completely adore Dave Roberts. They love playing for him. He's constantly looking out for him. He tries not to call him out in public. He's always asking if they need time to recuperate or whatever, because the Dodgers are so deep they can get away with that kind of stuff. So they love playing for him. You may hate his decisions come playoff time, but the players love him, right? So when he sends a shot across the bow, it definitely tends to get heard. Quote, "It's becoming more clear that we're not doing enough to win baseball games. We're too talented," unquote. That's a shot across the bow. Whether it's lack of execution, lack of hustle, he is not liking what he sees. He said he needs to find out if the players don't have a sense of urgency. Now, there's no team meeting scheduled to air everything out, but this is like I said, it's a warning shot. Get your stuff in line. They left 29 base runners on base in a 3-game series up in San Francisco. So yeah, it was a frustrating weekend. Now, if you want my take on it, I'm not reading too much into the Dodgers right now. Here's why. They played 31 games in 30 days. Then they quote unquote had a day off, but that day off was on a cross-country flight. Then they played the Giants and the White Sox. So they played 37 baseball games in 37 days. This is literally their first day away from the game completely. Everybody needs a breather. Do you want to work 37 consecutive days? Of course you don't. So no, I think Dave Roberts is probably making the right decision. He has his finger on the pulse of that team better than I. But yeah, give a guy a chance to breathe, for Pete's sakes. Russell Westbrook is expected to opt into his $47 million option with the Lakers. Duh. Anthony Davis was on a YouTube gaming channel. That's nice. And of course, while he's playing Tetris or God knows what, he says he hasn't shot a basketball since, quote, probably April 5th. By the way, that was the day of the season finale against Phoenix. It's allegedly normal behavior for him. He claims that it's his workout routine. He takes 10 weeks completely outside of basketball. And I know that that's probably disturbing for Laker fans. It's a little disturbing to me as well, especially when you consider how much of a workout fiend Kobe Bryant was. But then Sports Illustrated posted a video clip asking me that, I had to watch this video clip of Anthony Davis, quote, chowing down on an impressive seafood spread. No, up yours. I am not going to spend a single second of my life watching a grown man eat. That's not happening. I love my wife. My wife is extremely attractive. I don't have a let's watch people eat fetish. That's not going to happen. I mean, you know what else is not going to happen? I'm not going to buy your swimsuit issue when you have unattractive people on the cover. I don't care. I don't care if it's a statement for LGBTQ. I don't care if it's a statement for people that are allegedly have a few too many pounds. I have a few too many pounds. You don't see me with body oil down my chest wearing a Speedo and expect you to buy the magazine. It's not happening. And no, I am not going to watch Anthony Davis tying a bib around his neck with a stupid lobster over the front and watching him dip into the damn butter sauce and get his omega-3s. It's not going to happen. Sports Illustrated. The NBA draft is June 23rd. The Clippers have a second-round pick. I don't want to name names. I think that's a little silly in the second round. A lot of players would be gone by then. But instead, I'll drop a hint as to what the team probably needs. The Clippers are just loaded with wing players. The same type of player. Lots of wing players. At some point, I think you either need a traditional kind of point guard or maybe some rim help, rim protection, rebounding, a different type of player. I'm thinking they might look for that in the second round. The Sporting News has ranked USC head football coach Lincoln Riley as the 7th best coach in college football. Okay. You tell me if there are 6 better coaches. There may very well be. I mean, obviously there's at least 1 or 2. You tell me if 7 is okay. But let's talk about the old defending champs. What do you say? Now, with the conclusion of mandatory minicamp last week, we likely won't hear from the Rams until July when training camp starts. So what are we to make of their offseason? And if the season started today, where are they? Right? Now, by the way, as a side note, we'll talk about the Chargers next week. We're not doing that today. The Chargers have their mandatory minicamp this week. There's still information to gather. The goal for the players and the coaches, if we're going to be honest about it, was to run it back and to get paid. That's literally what Aaron Donald said he wanted. He got it. Therefore, so did the Rams. Now, the first thing we ought to ask ourselves is how hard it's going to be to run it back. First, by getting into the playoffs, and secondly, by winning the second consecutive Lombardi Trophy. Now, I don't know about the Lombardi Trophy, but to get into the playoffs, the Rams are in great shape. Here's why. You may recall when the Rams fell to the Patriots in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, they failed to qualify for the playoffs the next year. The odds of a Super Bowl losing team reaching the playoffs is literally about 50-50. So half of the teams don't make it. So don't be surprised if the Bengals struggle this year. But that's a side point. What about the teams that win? Well, they have more than a 65% chance of getting in. So that's pretty good. But even then, the teams that didn't qualify for the playoffs had crazy crap happen to them during the offseason. So, for example, there's the last champ that missed the playoffs was the New England Patriots. So ask yourself, why didn't they qualify? Was it because Tom Brady went to Tampa? Right? Like Cam Newton wasn't the answer? The Broncos won in 2015, then Peyton Manning retired. Trevor Siemian, hello? The Ravens of 2012 lost 8 starters, including Ray Lewis. One year, the defending champion Steelers, Ben Roethlisberger, damn near died in a motorcycle crash. Are you starting to see a trend? A team wins a title if they have a bad offseason. If crazy stuff happens, then they miss. So then you ask yourself, did crazy stuff happen to the Rams during the offseason? I would argue they solved a lot of problems. They went in the opposite direction. Donald didn't retire. They improved at wide receiver. Their biggest losses are rusher Von Miller and offensive tackle Andrew Wentworth to retirement. But they countered the losses on defense with inside linebacker Bobby Wagner and defensive back Troy Hill. Now, I appreciate how many people loved the way Miller was just a wrecking ball during the playoffs, but if Wagner can stop the 49ers running game, if he can stuff the opponent on 3rd and short, maybe blitz from the inside instead of the edge like the Rams are used to doing, it gives the Rams defense an entirely new look. So you compare that to the rest of the NFC West, because all I see across that division now is drama outside of Los Angeles. What about San Francisco? Did we forget Jimmy Garoppolo is still there and we have no idea if it's him or Trey Lance under center? And Deebo Samuel apparently wanting out? Right? Since we're on the subject of people who might want out, what about Kyler Murray in Arizona? By the way, DeAndre Hopkins was suspended for 6 weeks for allegedly using banned substances. And the Birds, they recently cut Chandler Jones, so the defense takes a hit. Is there any other word to describe the Seattle Seahawks than rebuild? So you're looking at all 3 other teams with questions at quarterback at the very least. People wanting out. The Rams did the opposite. Now, having said that, the Rams are not a flawless team, okay? You do need a little bit of luck also once you get to the playoffs. So I think the Rams are going to the playoffs. I just don't know what's going to happen once they get there. LA played the NFC title game at SoFi Stadium, right? If San Francisco hadn't upset Green Bay the week before, the Rams were on their way to Lambeau Field to face the Packers. And they have a lot of trouble when they face the Packers in Lambeau. So the Niners kind of did them a solid, if you think about it. Also, there are questions in the running game. Cam Akers, a year ago, he snapped his Achilles. He did get back in time for the playoffs, but he wasn't necessarily a game changer. Darrell Henderson gets dinged up a lot. Matthew Stafford had an injection in his throwing elbow. I don't think he's injured. But one bad sack, the Rams are toast. Right? The other possibility, did the Rams get fat and happy during the offseason? Complacency is a thing. Now, I think the Rams are going to make the playoffs. I just wouldn't necessarily guarantee a title. The one thing that does make me unhappy about the Rams offseason is that there are rumors that the team is allegedly going to turn away from the so-called bone uniform that they wear on the road. Those things kind of grew on me. But whatever, so be it. So in other words, what I'm trying to say is simple. The Rams are not a lock to go back to back. Things broke their way last year. They'd have to do it again. But I would say that barring the unthinkable, the Rams are a shoo-in for the playoffs. From there, let the chips fall where they may. So yeah, I give the Rams a thumbs up for the offseason. But you tell me what you think. Now, if you enjoyed today's broadcast, then by all means, like and subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We are trying to build something here for LA Sports. Thank you for watching. I'm James. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Have a great day. Bye-bye.